Let's go.
Greetings, everyone, as we deal with these wonderful technical challenges. We're echoing the
I'm
sounds
seeing that.
of retrograde, and we're still taking control of this space. So while we get this music together,
voices rise like echoes in the soft moonlight. Wisdom shared in whispers through the digital sphere, guiding paths of freedom, bringing vision clear. Echo, echo, hear the sound. Voices lifting off the ground in the marching silent stream. Echoes of a crypto dream. Conversations flowing like rivers glide. Black women in the forefront, spending time navigating markets, breaking down the walls in the world of finance, answering the calls.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Echo. I am Kimberly, aka That Black Crypto Chick, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Rashona, RB Rising One. And before we get into today's show, I want to thank you for showing up today. And when we started this show, we did so with the thought that there was going to be women behind and show women behind the scenes in various aspects of technology, blockchain, finance, marketing, film, everything, right? And we so our goal is to showcase women, especially women of color, and walk you into their lives. And what we need you to do is to help us elevate and echo the voices of these ladies all around the world. So we'd like for you to take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe right now. And if there's a friend of yours that you think will appreciate this information as you're listening, we'd like for you to share it with them. Okay. So thank you in advance for doing that. And this might be the inspiration that your friend or you need to make some changes in your life. So we hope that you'll join us in that one there. So each and every one of us has a story. Likewise, we all experience obstacles in life. Sometimes people simply sit in silence and allow things to happen, while other people shake things up and take a different path. And today, honored to have Miss Gillian C. Thomas with us today, aka the Chaos Coach. And she's joining us on the show. She is born in Guyana and having navigated her own journey of self discovery, Gillian empowers individuals to transform their lives and unlock the magic within the magic within life's challenges. Gillian is a certified holistic health coach through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and she is also an attorney, having studied at Fordham University School of Law in New York City. Working as an attorney, Gillian experienced firsthand the systems that throw us off balance, force us to seek guidance outside of ourselves, and keeps us in survival mode. Gillian reconnected with herself after 10 years in the legal field. And through her studies at Spiritual Ascension University, ultimately pivoted and turned a healer. She leveraged the side effects of her experiences and became a holistic health coach while working as an attorney. Then, just before the 2020 pandemic, she left corporate America and stepped out on her own yellow brick road of sorts with no real plan. Then Gillian she authored and published Thriving Through Chaos, That's a manual on how to be on your spiritual grind so that you bounce back quickly from life's curveballs and pandemics too. She's going to be holding that up for you. She is a certified Reiki master who incorporates her unique blend of energy healing, spiritual and nutrition counseling, and other complementary modalities into her healing work. As the founder of Be Boundless LLC, she helps her clients access the magic and miracles hidden in life's curveballs. Gillian guides her clients in breaking free from limiting beliefs and embracing their true potential. Get ready to be inspired by her remarkable story and profound wisdom as we delve into the transformative power of embracing life's curveballs and unlocking the boundless life. Welcome, Ms. Jillian. Before we go, please, you know what? I'd like for you to walk us through, give us a picture of what your early childhood family life was like in Guyana, because you grew up there, including your family's views on money, because that is something we discuss here, right? And any money lessons that you learned as a young child, and how all of that transitions you to coming to New York. So walk us through that, please.
Whew. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for inviting me. Um, wow, my childhood, that seems so far away. But I remember, I guess, like most of us in this space, it was about money don't grow on trees. Um, it kind of is the financial, my financial history is kind of to do with the IMF and all, those kinds of things. That was around the time when they devalued the dollar in a lot of the Caribbean and South American countries, and that affected us. So there was a point when things went from a lot or like flowing, and then it became less flowing. Not that we were poor, but there were six of us, and so there were a lot of mouths to feed. My father had a good job. My mother was a seamstress, stay at home, and between them, they made things not as bad as it could have been. But ultimately, I grew up not really knowing what money is. We weren't taught in schools or at home. Well, and part of that is that was kind of lost back in, I guess, before my grandparents. My paternal grandfather had a business. He provided electricity for hundreds of homes in his village in the Quarantine in Berbice, Guyana. So I had that aspect to look at, the entrepreneurship. So I figure it's in the blood. But then on the other side of the family, to a certain extent, there wasn't that um, to look at. So it was it wasn't a thing where I grew up knowing how to handle money, knowing what money means. I actually didn't come into that until around 2020, and even then,
more recently, about 2 years ago. Then I started understanding money, understanding abundance, understanding myself in that, how I play into bringing that abundance to me, whether it's financial, emotional, mental, all of that. And only recently, very, very recently, seeing myself as, well, seeing myself. that's that's another story, because just last week I realized why certain things were playing out in my life the way they were, and so that's brought even more abundance in. So ultimately, even though I grew up in Guyana, it was a beautiful life outside of the financial. Um, I don't want to say lack anymore. That's such a word, but deficiencies. Outside of that, I would say I had a really good childhood. I kind of always knew that I was going to be doing some kind of helping people heal themselves. How that was going to look, I had no idea, but I think I'm jumping ahead.
No, you actually are seamlessly going into the next question, right, Kim? This is perfect. And this is perfect because in this space, we like people to echo authenticity, right, and truth. Everyone feels like everyone has this understanding of money, which is just an energy. But in truth, even just come back from Costa Rica, we realize abundance has to do with life and nature, your experiences, your family is abundance. And honestly, that's what you just had. It doesn't even matter the age. It's the fact that you realize, okay, at this stage, I need to really understand what money means and energetically. And am I comfortable with understanding my worth, my value in this space? And so with that being said, I want to jump into kind of like exactly what you said. What sparked your interest in holistic coaching? We like to keep it raw here because it inspires people, and something always has to happen to bring us to this next stage of our life. I was listening to Tamara Hall, and she says, through our life, we're going through challenges and change drills. She said drills to prepare us for the fire alarm, something of that nature, right? So listen to your story. You've been trained, right? You've been going through drills to empower you to help to empower others. So what sparked your interest in holistic healing?
I think from birth, I was, well, first of all, I was born a healer. I think I was always telling people what to do and how to do it. Though that was kind of shut down at some point in my childhood, which is part of that process of becoming, of getting to here, right? So, but I always kind of knew what somebody should do to help them. And then I'm an observer, and I would see people, really see people going through stuff, and really see them in that stuff, and know what they should do and what they can do to help them to transcend or transmute whatever. So growing up, I thought I would have been a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And I ended up becoming an attorney, a different kind of counselor. Um, but like you just said, all of that played into me getting to here today, because what happened is, you read my bio, and part of what's in there is that I was in systems that placed me in positions where burnout, overwhelm, um, the kinds of things that go with working in corporate America, being the first basically in my family to
go to school in, go to law school and learn in that environment, and also to come out of that and work in corporate America. Not, this is not Guyana anymore. Um, and I came here as an adult, so I didn't do high school here, or I didn't grow up here. So I was in my early 20s when I came here. And so it was a learning curve that I did not, um, that I didn't complete until recently. But what brought me to going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition is that I was so burnt out, and that was part of it. And then the other part of it is that I was trying to figure out what was going to be my next move. I thought I was going back to school to do an MBA, and but that didn't really resonate with me. Um, so then I ended up going to, I was reading O Magazine on the train going home from work one day. And I read an article where a woman talked, she wrote about going to see a holistic health coach. I was like, what is a holistic health coach? Because by this time I was trying to figure out how to heal myself. I was feeling chronically fatigued, um, and among other things. And I didn't know what was going on. So I read this article in magazine, holistic health coach. What is a holistic health coach? I looked it up. And by the next day, I had registered the classes with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I was a certified health coach in by the end of the following year. And I did that partly because I was always interested in holistic, organic ways to heal myself. And I saw my colleagues, people around me, family, etc., in health situations, mental, physical, emotional, where we needed healing, and we were medicating ourselves with I don't want your podcast to be whatever it is that YouTube does, but doing things that were making us sicker. And so that's how I ended up becoming a health coach, because I wanted to help myself and my people to just be better, feel better, do better. So that is when the actual process of that feeling that I had that am a psychologist or a psychiatrist really started. And being a lawyer really helped with the counseling, listening aspect of it.
That's perfect, because you want to understand how you merge the two, right, in your personal growth. And your experience is obviously to want to heal yourself first, which is optimal, right? By just saying, are you betting on you? Gillian, you decided to bet on you. So how would you say your experiences in the legal field, how did it impact your personal growth? But at the same time, how did this really lead how did this really lead to a more transformative moment that allowed you to really reconnect with yourself? Because something had to happen even bigger for you to have a title, thriving through chaos. That ain't just no simple title. So we want to hit a
Oh
raw
gosh.
deal.
So it got to the point where I couldn't, um, I was working at a firm. I had switched firms from a mid to large size firm to a smaller 3-person firm. And then I figured I would go back to big firm work. And I got an opportunity to join, to not join is partnership, but you know what I mean, to work at a larger firm. And it was chaos. My life was, well, it felt good going in because I got all of the feels that this was a good move, but I wasn't in the space to understand why it was a good move for me at that point. So it got to the point where I was working so hard that I couldn't remember what I had for lunch a few hours before, much less the day before. I write in Thriving Through Chaos about one day sitting at my desk, and I was so tense because I had to prepare for a deposition the following day. But in the meantime, I had to finish up like 5 things that were on my desk that were really important. And I was so tense that my left shoulder slipped out of
Mm.
whatever the socket,
The
whatever you
socket.
call
The
it.
socket. Yeah.
It was the most painful thing. I'm sitting in my office, door closed, and all of a sudden it just slipped, and I had to slip it back in. Um, and that hurt. And it got to the point where everything was screaming at me, "Get out! You gotta get
Mm.
out!" And so I handed in my resignation. I think it was in January or the end of December of 2019. And just a couple of months before I would have made a year at that firm, I left. It was Valentine's Day in February 2020. And it took me, I don't know, maybe 6 months to get myself back together. Um, I couldn't get out of bed before midday. Um,
Mm.
and I was kind of happy. I'm sorry if people are offended. I was kind of happy that I did that and with what happened next, because I didn't have to think about, okay, where do I go? I didn't really have to think about getting up and going out to work. Um, So it was, even though it was a really tragic, weird period of time in world history for tons of people, it was the perfect time for me to get that time off. And around spring that year, well, first of all, my friends and some people that I know, friends, family, whatever, were really concerned about what was going on. A lot of people were transitioning behind what was happening in 2020. And I said, you know what? I know some things. I can create it wasn't going to be a book, it was going to be like, what do you call it? A pamphlet with information on herbs and things like that that people can do to keep themselves in a grounded, um, a space of knowing that they can handle this, that nature gave us everything that we need to get through this. You don't have to panic, and so on and so forth. And then the name came to me, the byline, be on your spiritual grind, etc. And the names of chapters just started flowing, and I was typing. I actually wrote this using a template on Word, a book template. And everything just flowed. And then I started doubting it. And it was basically completed. And I put it away because it sounded just weird. Um, Not that I was wondering who was going to read it, but come on, Gillian, this this sounds just too good to be true. And that's when I started Spruce. Well, at the time, it wasn't SAU, Spiritual Ascension University. It was Spirit Doula Academy. And I had, before I joined the Spirit Doula Academy, registered as a student, I was in, I had seen Professor Melanie's videos when she was Melanie the Spirit Doula on YouTube, and they resonated. And so when she started the first session of Spirit Doula Academy, I wanted to join, but I was still working and I didn't see or couldn't see how I would have made the time with how work was going to be a student in the SDA. By the third round, I was ready, willing, and able. And it turned out that that's what I needed to have. There was some information that I was missing, some truth. Uh, some of the things that I would have written in about in this book were, uh, as I knew them, weren't necessarily the truth. And so I needed that information. I needed information about books that I should read, and also, like information about why we should be eating a certain way. The way that Yaki Awakened, you've probably heard of, speaks about information about melanin and things like that. That being in the SDA exposed me to. So then I was able to confidently complete the book because then it felt like, okay, this information that people can get through this book is going to help at least with a basic understanding, which is what this manual is about, to give a basic understanding of how to take responsibility for yourself and connect with your inner guidance so that ultimately you access your bliss, right? Because we came here in bliss, even if the act was kind of violent or violent. When those two cells connected, they connected in bliss. And so we're supposed to be in bliss because love is the ultimate thing, and the love, not the love that we are programmed to connect with, like the Valentine's Day type love. We are supposed to be living in a state of just love. We know that chaos will come, but the kind of love I'm talking about, and having that in the background, sort of a spiritual safety net, gets us through all of that. Um, so even though you have challenges that come up in life, we can deal with them because the more we work on ourselves and the more we get to know ourselves, we know that, well, for me, from my perspective, it's all a game. And so you get better at playing the game. And because your background is bliss. I don't know if that makes sense. I think people think I'm a Pollyanna sometimes. But
No, not at all. I don't know. I might be frozen, but no. So good. Okay. Can you hear
I
me?
hear you.
yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
By the way, Kim is in
So
Paris, or south of Paris, so that's why the connection.
yeah, my connection's really bad. Everything's choppy. But so I was just wondering. Okay. So you transitioned from being an attorney, okay, to becoming a holistic health coach and Reiki master. And so what things did you learn from one or even skills take with you from your time as an attorney that you apply in your current field, or do you not, use anything, any of that knowledge? And when I think about, we all need to kind of dig deep and find out what it is that resonates with us, So, like, what was that transition like for you as you decided to navigate that path?
So it wasn't a difficult transition because one of the things I
Can you
write
hear me?
about in Thriving Through Chaos is
Mm,
getting to know yourself through your natal chart. And my natal chart, that's my astrological birth chart, based on what's in there, um, um, the professions that I can do are attorney, psychiatrist, uh, psychologist, what you would call it, counselor. So everything that I had done up to the point where I went to IIN and I became a certified holistic health coach, everything was getting me to the point of where I can do this counseling thing as the wholesome life coach or the chaos coach seamlessly. So that was all preparation because what I have come to understand is that everything that we do in life, if you consider yourself a spiritual being having this human experience, every experience is preparation or a part of the process to getting to what you're actually really here to do. And so it was seamless, but I think for me, being an attorney reinforced my listening skills. And while being in a masculine led environment, because that's what corporate America is, took me away from my femininity, my feminine self, in a way that fractured me quite a bit. Having that ability to have that structure uh, through being in that environment, I think was a big part of is a big part of what I took from that because yeah, that break and being immersed in that environment, that masculine environment has been a big help in transitioning because as the financial thing, where we're not comfortable getting paid what we're worth for doing work in the holistic organic arena, being and having to get accustomed to that. I think being having worked in corporate America helped me to get over that hump quicker than if I hadn't been in corporate America.
Of course.
Um, so I would say that's the biggest thing. The interesting thing about my story is that leaving my job in February 2020 wasn't the end of it, because I ended up having to go back. I didn't want to go back. I had no intentions of going back, but I was told that that's part of my journey. That's what I signed up for. So even though I had severe PTSD going back in, my people were like, you got to do this. And it turned out that the reason why I had to do it is so that I could get the other piece of what I needed to get from there in order to be the effective coach, chaos coach, counselor that I am. So the experiences that I was having before, we end up in these environments where we experience situations that throw us off track, like deadlines and um, things like that. Back to back court appearances, you're tired and whatnot, and then bosses with expectations and just being resistant to that lifestyle. And so part of my journey here is that I had to learn how to release that resistance by understanding that the experiences I have in that environment aren't about the people or what it is that I think they're doing to me. It's about me understanding or understanding that that's what I need to experience in order to be able to help the people I'm here to help. So I had to go back in to get that piece of the that piece of the experience, and that's why it was initially when I got that job in 2018 or 2019. Yeah, it was March 2019. Initially, when I got that job, it was like, yes, this is what I heard was, yes, this is what you're supposed to do. Yes, take it, etc., etc. And then I get in there and it's this chaotic situation. And then I end back up at the same firm, doing kind of the same work, and the same things start to happen. I'm feeling this sense of PTSD because I was traumatized. I was feeling traumatized. And then a situation happened where I was feeling more traumatized. And by then, I knew myself enough to ask the question. I had done enough work on myself to ask the question, so why is this happening? What am I supposed to learn from that? And I got the answer that this is supposed to teach you how to be in these environments, because you're going to have to help people to be in these environments, because we all can't
Operation.
leave, those environments and be completely, some of us have to work there because the work that we have to do is to be done in that environment. So from that day, it's been awesome. It's
So
I don't know. I can hang.
So what I'm hearing, because I want to um, flow into the birth of Be Boundless, right? But what we heard is through your own personal chaos and experience and acceptance in the space, in the workflow, which we're going to call the workflow now, the assignment. Because when you have an assignment, we don't know how long that is or will be, but we do know that there's an ending to a beginning, right? And so you realize in your transformation, you had to go back in, loop back in, but for a higher level because you were prepared to actually, you had the right medicine to prepare you this time, right? Opposed to last time. And so now you have your ascension, you have your spiraling up. And so your smiles and happiness going into assignment feels different. That is what most people are looking to get assistance with when they have an assignment, knowing that their work, quote unquote, is not the end all be all, it's preparation for something else. And you realize that. And so now when we think about that transformation and that level of deeper understanding, you did your work, how did you now really birth now Be Boundless? Because that word in itself, Be Boundless, LLC, right? What were the challenges that you face starting Be Boundless, and how did you overcome them?
So,
That's a statement.
first of all, the name Be Boundless, I thought was lame. The way things have been showing up for me in my life is that, and I'm sure you've had this too, things come up, you get names, you get promptings to do, say something. Like, for instance, writing Thriving Through Chaos, I had no idea that I was writing the blueprint for my work, right? So, be boundless for me means, given that my personal life's work is about releasing releasing beliefs that are holding me back, basically releasing everything that's keeping me fenced in. And it's a constant journey because you might think that you've released lack mentality, but then a situation shows up to show you that, wait a minute, lack shows up in this arena or this area or this situation as well. Lack doesn't just look like this, it can look like that. So I have to release that too, right? So for me, Be Boundless, um, even though I didn't know that's what it meant at the time when I came up with the name for my business, Be Boundless means removing all the fences that are keeping us from
Right.
being who we are here to be,
Yep.
right? Releasing the energy. So, to use a word that Sister Myra, I've really come to understand from her, harmonizing with ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to do inner work because the darkness, when we face it, it actually helps us because the dark spaces, those are the spaces that know us best and can help us to navigate the rest of the crap. It's not the sunny, all hairy
Right.
fairy aspects that that help us
Right.
through this life. It's the dark parts that we keep hidden.
What we're birthing.
They rise
Yeah.
up to meet us when we acknowledge them. I look at that dark aspects as children, neglected children, they act up because we're not acknowledging them. So when we acknowledge them, they become our helpmates. I think I've gone off on a tangent,
No,
but
listen, I
yeah,
got you. I know. It's because they're passionate about our work, and when you start doing the inner work, we're letting people know. Even though I reached here at my level, it doesn't stop. My growth doesn't stop. Me feeling hopeless doesn't stop. That feeling that I'm not good enough doesn't stop because there's levels to this. I don't
yep,
care if you have 20,000 to six figures. There's always going to be something where you have to grow from within yourself that that voice is saying, I'm not good enough. Or am I good
hmm,
enough? Can I do this? Am I really ready? Am I really prepared? Right. And so that's the inner work that you're talking about that you realize is creeping up because when we're birthing in the womb in the darkness and that's
yep.
fine, right? So what I want before we end this session, because this is a plethora of information, a couple of things. One, I want you to share an amazing story based on your work that transforms someone's perspective.
Um, well, so recently I did this, and it's going to be, it is an ongoing aspect of my work, um, with a changed name. But I had a 2, 3 week summer detox program that I did recently. And I don't want to go too into detail about people's business, because that would be a violation.
Of course.
But the fact that in one session, I have a client who went from her first session feeling unsure of herself and down on herself because of some things she experienced in childhood to coming to the next session wearing lipstick, makeup, all smiles. And just from doing one thing that I assigned, doing her homework. And so ultimately, we have to do the work, we have to do the inner work. And the fact that it really, really touched me that in one session, she was able to go from basically, I don't know what to do, um, dealing with something that she had been dealing with daily since childhood, and to this bright, smiling person who was now wearing makeup to her sessions. It was awesome. I don't
Yes,
know if
yes.
that's
Listen,
a,
no,
but that's
I
the
I
story.
know.
Yes.
Yes, so I know that there's client confidentiality, but I just want the audience to just kind of hear like some of the effectiveness you have and deal with perspectives, because you are changing lives. Give me 1 second because my cousin's at the door and I'm telling him to wait. Give me a minute. But before we literally echo out, one question, two things before we echo out. One, because this is also about crypto, and I know you're a boss, and you actually jumped into crypto. What sparked your interest into crypto? Real brief, just to share the audience that you are the wholesome life coach, meaning that you look at pieces to the pie that creates the whole. And if we talk about the wholeness, it's the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, and the financial. And our girl is in it. So, what got you into crypto, real quick?
You got me into crypto, Rashona. Um,
Oh, that was gonna be the answer.
I wouldn't say I'm a crypto maven because I haven't been working at it as I should. But I know that you will keep me in line. Um, but yeah, you got me into crypto. I'd had a little bit during during that 2020 episode, and then you got me into doing more, explaining more about it. I'm not at the point where I can speak intelligently about crypto, and The financial stuff, I would refer people that certain aspects of the financial stuff, I would refer people to you.
But it's not even
But
that. You still in, Jillian. You still jumped in.
yeah, I still
Some things
jumped
start
in
in
and
the
I
boat.
still working on I still work on help people to develop the mindset that helps with financial abundance, because with all of the clearing away that we're doing, the cleaning out in all of the different ways we can do it, it opens us up to receive that
Mm-hmm.
energy. So yeah, that's part of it too. And yeah, the wholesome life coach is about bringing us to that bliss through nutrition, physical nutrition, and non-physical nutrition. And the chaos coach is an aspect that I'm developing, which I have come to recognize through Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, that's actually, so the rebranding is happening to the chaos coach because it's about helping people to change their perspectives so that the chaos becomes fun.
And with that being said, before we transition to the next phase of our life, what do you want to echo to the world today?
Be like water, my friend. Just flow.
Mm. Did y'all hear that? Be
It's
like water and just flow. And before one thing, hold on, because I'm gonna do something different. Hold on. And before to get your life together, because it's always going to be we always going to be in some type of chaos. But it's a choice on how you actually want to thrive through that chaos. So you might want to capture this book, okay?
yeah.
Because this has definitely changed my life. Because if you understood what goes in my head, I gotta minimize the chaos in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure to love and subscribe to the channel. At the Wholesome Life Coach, Future Crypto, I'll be rising. Kim, that crypto chick, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, ladies, so very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
In the silent stream,
And see, I